let's go ahead and get, gentlemen, how are you?
We're all right, man. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, no
Doing
problem at
good.
all.
Yeah, happy to be talking to you.
Yeah. So, let's start with the big thing. You guys have known each other for a long time and you've kind of collaborated and you've done things like music and the arts. What was it about Head Wound Sparrow that you really like was kind of almost like the culmination of this friendship and this kind of like lifelong collaborative process between you guys?
It's different than the other stories that we've done together and the things, because I was dying and I was really evaluating myself. I had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, was given 6 months ish, and that was well over 10 years ago. Thank you. I'm still here, but I wrote this when I was scared shitless and really evaluating myself. And we were just talking about when you get into the visceral part of yourself, when your body gets sick, you automatically jump to spiritual. And that's how I got into this mindset. And this is the craziness that came out of me. John fixed it, and everyone else, made it into a thing, and that's what happened.
Well, to that point, like, what was it about of all the mediums to pursue? And I know you all are big comic book guys. Like, yeah, I just happen to have Moon Knight #1. Wild. Yeah. Like, what was it about the comic book medium that you found was the right way to tell this story?
Well, the world that Bob and John created was vast around Head Wounds, because it's as Bob mentioned, not only is his body in war, but spiritually, you're at war with what that means, right? And so that he depicted that in a very visceral way, and then they created this massive epic world around it. And so when we started talking about it, at first talking about it as a film, as a TV series, and then we definitely felt like it was more of a serial story to tell. But because I think of the epic nature of the story and the visuals, we thought, well, what an amazing opportunity to do it as a graphic novel. And when Legendary in particular got excited about it, it just felt like a no-brainer. And sure enough, we were able to get amazing people, Brian Buccellato to write it, to kind of narrow it down and condense it, and then Christian Ward just to unleash hellfire on the story. And what we got is this right here.
Nice. Yeah, you got one too. Nice, cool. What was, because I've been following Christian stuff since like Odyssey, and he's always kind of got this psychedelic surrealism to it. What was it about kind of exploring the dark side of that and this kind of like religious stigmata story?
Christian's a genius. His art isn't just great comic book or graphic novel art, it's great art. The man has a soul that comes out through his instruments, and we love that. We love the collaboration. We love seeing what he, like Oscar says, we were like little kids on Christmas morning waiting for the next Christian Ward drawing to come to us. And I miss it. I went into a depression because it stopped. I don't get a Christian Ward, once a week, a Christian Ward layout.
Yeah, well, and the fact that he was willing to take a risk, because you're right. This is not the kind of stuff he does. He doesn't do dark noir realism, gritty. It's like his stuff's out there. It's psychedelic. It's it's space. It's galactal, and the fact that he keyed in to us wanting to tell this type of story in a very different way. I think we got excited at the possibilities of doing something different. And it's like in art, if there's no risk, then there's just no point in doing it.
With this story quite literally hewing so close to the bone, what was it about bringing in Brian or Christian that made you that frame the story in a way that you hadn't maybe anticipated or first envisioned however many years ago when you were laying this all out and building this world?
We didn't envision a graphic novel at the beginning, we were just trying to work on a script, like Oscar said, and it changed everything. The first time we got a script from Brian, and then you see what goes into a graphic novel script and how different it is from what we were trying to do. It's just so eye-opening, every panel and every foreground and background. The guy's good, man. He's really good. So it was eye-opening.
I like books with pictures in them.
Yeah. Well, it ended up there, but we had to start at a script.
No, but they were amazing. Both of them, Christian, Brian, Robert Napton from Legendary. Everybody was teaching us what the hell we were doing. And we loved comic books, but we'd never been on the other side of the curtain. We never, had created that way. And so it was awesome. It was awesome, man. We learned a lot, and it grew so quickly, It was like that fire I set in my mom's house that one time.
Yeah, just that once.
Really
Just one time, which she still doesn't know about. With this being said in New Orleans, I mean, I love New Orleans. Even, it's got this kind of entire, it feels like a slice of Europe in the middle of Louisiana. What was it about setting it in this kind of on the bayou, with this setting?
Megan. My family.
I went to kindergarten there. Mikey was born in New Orleans. Awesome. My brother was born there. Cool.
My family, a lot of my family lives in Kenner, Metairie, and then over in the swamps. I come from some Cajun stock, and I've gone there, and I've always had a childlike wonder. We met voodoo people and hoodoo people, and and I was so scared of them until I met them. And most of them are great people, really cool, deeper, definitely different from me and the way that I was raised, but they taught us so much about herbs, and you can make this tea for this type of thing. And the place itself is alive. Whether you're in the swamp or in the city, there's just something different about Louisiana. It is alive. It has its own soul. It has its own personality. Like you said, there's a lot of European roots, and it's just a beautiful place. So for me, it's my creamy spiritual center, and that's why I wanted to start there.
Well, laissez-les bon temps brûlés. What was it about Leo then? Because this is a dude, I mean, in a way, Oscar, you're no stranger to playing characters I'm thinking A Most Violent Year, where it's characters that are just never completely clean. Though I guess people like that don't necessarily exist. What was it about kind of having this kind of guy go on this maybe redemption arc as he inherits the literal wounds of the community?
Yeah, well, that's it. It's that's not what human beings are like, or at least that's not been my experience. You're constantly at war with yourself for what the right thing is, doing the right thing, what the wrong thing is, why you're doing the things that you're doing, and not really understanding, and so I think there was an opportunity to tell that kind of gritty 70s anti-hero story with Leo Gator, and to really have him have that kind of an arc. That's the point of it. It's it's the way that Bob first talked about it, which was so intriguing. It's just from a point of empathy. It's how do you force someone to have empathy? It's especially people that are meant to protect others, that it's their job to protect others. And if those people were forced to suffer the same fates and same wounds as the people they're meant to protect, maybe they'd be more apt to do their job.
I live in DC, so I totally get that. At the risk of going too political, but as a quick aside,
that thing has its own soul too. It's black and dirty.
Yeah.
Sick, festering. Yeah.
But as a complete quick aside, just as a softball, you're doing anti-heroes even in the more fantastical spaces, Oscar, guys like Moon Knight, or I guess he's not an anti-hero, but Apocalypse certainly qualifies. I just happen to have the first appearance of Apocalypse too. It's wild. I have
wow.
The who would you personally like to see Moon Knight square up against in the MCU?
In the MCU,
with or without the Spanish?
Or with Brutus. Popeye would make a good sidekick.
Yeah. Is he in the MCU, Popeye?
He should be. If he's not, let's get him there.
I don't know, man. Ghost Rider?
Cool. Let's bring on Robbie Reyes. Let's bring on Johnny Blaze. Let's do it all.
Yeah.
But and to take it back to Head Wound Sparrow, this is you mentioned this being a huge collaborative process. You mentioned, what are about this being a film or television series? is that still kind of an end game that you maybe have in mind to translate it to the screen? Or is, you know, now that you've seen the final product in this kind of proof of concept form as a comic?
Well, there's, you know, it's a massive world that they've created.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. And so there's a lot more story to tell, whether that's in more books or in conjunction with, you know, seeing it come to live action. You know, it's definitely something that we're excited about the possibilities.
Yeah, we got a big pot of soup, and we just have to wait and see if people want another, you know, seconds and thirds of it. So it exists, but it's up to you and everyone else, whether you like it or not, whether you want more. It's always that way. And also, none of us are real good at in-game stuff. It's the process. Like, we're like neck deep in creating and making, and so wherever it goes, man, it's gonna be awesome. You know, wherever it takes us is gonna be badass.
Well, let's spread the word then. You know, Head Wound Sparrow out through Legendary and Mad Gene Media. Guys, thanks for taking time to speak with me today.
Man. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, I love your mustache, dude. I wish I could grow one.
It takes about a week and a half. I'm like the wolf man. Oscar, how long does it take you to grow a facial hair?
Lucky.
Very quickly. I can probably do it.
Yeah, I go through razor blades. Like it's more expensive for me to gas in my budget. It's a problem.